Welcome to my little corner of the internet, where we celebrate creativity and growth. Welcome, friends, to our video dedicated to Isdud. Let's dive right in and uncover its wonders. Isdud was a Palestinian village tracing back at least to the Ottoman period of the Palestine region. In 1945, it had a population of 4,620 Arabs and 290 Jews, 3 years prior to the 1948 Arab-Israeli War, during which the Arab inhabitants either fled or were expelled. The village of Isdud is documented from the early Ottoman period in Palestine, when it held 75 households. The settlement at this time may or may not form part of a continuity with the town of Azdud, described up until the 10th century as a postal stop between al-Ramla and Gaza, and equally as a continuation of the ancient city of Ashdod. By 1922, Isdud had a population of 2,566 inhabitants, 2,555 Muslims and 11 Christians, and by 1945, a population of 4,620 Arabs and 290 Jews. Today, the village's ruins form part of the Tel Ashdod archaeological site, which lies within the jurisdiction of the Be'er Tuvia Regional Council. The central village mosque stands at the top of the site, as does the Khan and the tomb of Sheikh Abu Qubal. As we enter this new phase, let's navigate the complexities of names and discover its practical applications. The name Isdud is a variant on the name of ancient Ashdod, which is first attested in the form of 11th century BCE Egyptian lists, whereas it transcribed as St, which scholars have determined is derived from the late Bronze Age Canaanite Urdu. In the Islamic period, the geographer Ibn Khaldun referred to the city as Azdud, echoing the pre-Hellenistic name. By the 16th century, it had lost its initial vowel to become just Stud, before regaining it by the 19th century as Isdud, a form of the settlement's name that changed little through to the 20th century Isdud. Without wasting any more time, let's jump into the fascinating world of Iron Age to Mamluk period. The ancient city of Ashdod rose to prominence in the 12th century BCE, when the Philistines ruled the city as Azdud, and the city was a member of their Pentapolis, a group of 5 key cities. Alongside Ascalon, Gaza, Ekron and Gath, Azdud later led the revolt of Philistines, Judans, Edomites, and Moabites against Assyria, before one of Sargon I's generals destroyed the city and exiled its residents, including some Israelites who were subsequently settled in Media and Elam. In 605 BCE, Babylonian king Nebuchadnezzar conquered it, and in 539 BC it was rebuilt by the Persians, before being conquered in 332 BC by Alexander the Great. During the Hellenistic period, the city was known as Azotus and prospered until the Maccabean revolt, during which Judas Maccabeus took the city and laid it waste. It was then ruled by Alexander Janus of the House Monans, before being made independent again by the Roman general Pompey. In 55 BCE, the Roman general Gabinius also helped to rebuild Azotus. During the Byzantine period, Azotus was overshadowed by Azotus Paralios, a nearby port, and the inland city's maritime counterpart. The 6th Madaba map shows both under their respective names. The geographer Ibn Khaldun c. 800 and 2912 referred to the inland city as Azdud and described it as a postal station between al-Ramla and Gaza. 12th century Crusader church endowments and land deeds mention settlement in Azdud. During the Mamluk period, Isdud was a key village along the Cairo-Damascus road, which served as a center for rural religious and economic life. Moving ahead, let's uncover the hidden gems within Ottoman period and discover their significance. In the Ottoman period, the location of the village of Isdud on the ancient Via Maris route preserved the village's importance. In the first Ottoman tax register of the village had a population of 40 Muslim households and 4 bachelors, and it belonged to the Naya of Gaza Sanjak. By 1596 CE, the population of Ashdod named Isdud reached 75 households, about 413 persons, all Muslims. The villagers paid a fixed tax rate of 333% on wheat, barley, sesame and fruit crops, as well as goats and beehives, a total of 14,000 tak. Marm and Taxa have shown that during the 17th to 18th centuries, nomadic economic and security pressures led to settlement abandonment around Majul Ascalon and the southern coastal plain in general. The population of abandoned villages moved to surviving settlements, while the lands of abandoned settlements continued to be cultivated by neighboring villages. Thus, Isdud absorbed the lands of Qaryat Isdud, an unidentified subsidiary settlement near Isdud mentioned in the Ottoman tax registers. In 1838, Isdud was noted as a Muslim village in the Gaza district. In the late 19th century, Isdud was described as a village spread across the eastern slope of a low hill, covered with gardens. A ruined khan stood southwest of the village. Its houses were 1 story high with walls and enclosures built of adobe brick. There were 2 main sources of water, a pond and a masonry well. Both were surrounded by groves of date palm and fig trees. Get ready for a captivating exploration as we unravel the layers of British mandate and their profound significance. In the 1922 census of Palestine, conducted by the British Mandate authorities, Isdud had a population of 2,566 inhabitants, 2,555 Muslims and 11 Christians, where the Christians were all Catholics. The population increased in the 1931 census to 3,240, 3,238 Muslims and 2 Christians, in a total of 764 houses. During the mandatory period, Isdud had 2 elementary schools, one for boys which was opened in 1922, and one for girls which started in 1942. By the mid-years, the boys' school had 371 students, while the girls' school had 74. The official village statistics, 1945 for Isdud, gave a population of 4,620 Arabs and 290 Jews in a total land area of 47,871 dunams. Of this, 3,277 dunams were used citrus and bananas, 8,327 for plantations and irrigable land, 23,762 for cereals, while 131 dunams were built on land. Now, let's dig deeper into 1948 Arab-Israeli War and unveil the hidden treasures it holds within. The village of Isdud was occupied by the Egyptian army on May 29, 1948, and became the Egyptians' northernmost position during the 1948 Arab-Israeli War. While the Israelis failed to capture territory and suffered heavy casualties, Egypt changed its strategy from offensive to defensive, thus halting their advance northwards. Egyptian and Israeli forces clashed in the surrounding area, with the Egyptians being unable to hold the Adham Bridge over the Lachish River. Israeli forces surrounded the town during Operation Pleshit and shelled and bombed it from the air. For 3 nights from 18 October, the Israeli Air Force bombed Isdud and several other locations. Fearing encirclement, Egyptian forces retreated on October 28, 1948, and the majority of the residents fled. The 300 townspeople who remained were driven southwards by the Israel Defense Forces. The village was part of territory that was granted to Israel in the 1949 armistice agreements following the end of the war. As we enter this new phase, let's navigate the complexities of Israel and discover its practical applications. In 1950, 2 moshevim, Suziyaho and Shulam, were established to the east of Isdud, on village land. Nidarim in 1949 and Gan Hadarim in 1953 were established north of Isdud, on village land. The city of Ashdod was founded in 1956 4 kilometers north of Isdud. According to Khalidi 1992, the site of Isdud is now covered in sand dunes. As we progress through this video, let's shift our attention towards gallery and uncover its hidden depths. File Isdud 1946 bulk detailed village map, 1946 File Isdud Gekrons of the Isdud Mosque File Views of Palestine. A route over Cana of Galilee, Nazareth, Plain of Sharon, and so on Ashdod, home of Dagon. Encroaching sand waves in distance LOC Mat Chokriel view of Isdud, 1932 Fight courtyard of a village house in Ok courtyard of house in Isdud, about 1945 File Isdud Ok Isdud 1948 File Isdud after the 1948 Arab-Israeli war Ok Isdud in 1948 File Modern Ashdod versus Historical Isdud and Minute El Kulab Isdud in 1870, at the bottom of the map, compared against the location of modern Ashdod. I hope you learned something new today. Let me know what you found most interesting in the comments below.